that is the best gift you can give. And inshallah, towards the end of my talk, I will deal and discuss with that in detail. The second type of knowledge is the knowledge required by the community. Knowledge which makes a person a doctor, makes a person an engineer, a lawyer, a scientist, an agriculturist. This is too required for the betterment of the community, for the betterment of the society. But when we are acquiring the second type of knowledge, we should see to it that when we acquire scientific knowledge, when we learn about mathematics, geography, history, this knowledge should get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, should not take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this knowledge takes you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that knowledge is not correct knowledge. It's not correct education. It should bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, when we learn medicine, we learn how to save the lives of thousands of human beings. But in that same medical knowledge, when we learn how to do abortion, there are youngsters who are doing zina, and then they want to abort. So using this knowledge for activities which are wrong, we should abstain from that. Abortion for saving the life of the mother. If she has a health problem, Islam gives permission. Otherwise, Allah says in Surah Isra, chapter number 17, verse number 31, and Surah Anam, chapter number 6, verse number 151, that kill not your children for want of sustenance. Killing of children is prohibited. So whatever knowledge you acquire, it should be for the betterment of humanity and get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever moral values you are learning, we should see to it that when we put our children in the school, that school should upbring our children properly. Imagine if we put our children in the convent school, many of whose values don't match with the value of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is like we are tying the hands and legs of our children and putting them in water and asking them to swim. How will they swim? So when we put them in a school, see to it you put them in a proper school. If the culture and society and the school teaches you manners, it should be good Islamic manners. Nowadays we find that in the Western culture, they say that manners is building old age homes. Islam has got no place for old age homes, because Islam believes that we should love and respect our parents. And there are several verses in the Qur'an. Surah Luqman, chapter 31, verse number 15. Surah An-Kabut, chapter number 29, verse number 8. Surah Anam, chapter number 6, verse number 151. Several verses which says that we have enjoined on the human beings that you have been kind and good to your parents. And our beloved Prophet Muhammad said, it's mentioned in Sahih Bukhari, volume number 8, in the book of Adab, chapter number 2, hadith number 2, there's a person who approached the Prophet and he asked him that who deserves the maximum love and companionship in the world. So the Prophet said, your mother. The man asked, after that who? The Prophet again repeated, your mother. The man asked, after that who? Again the Prophet said for the third time, your mother. The man asked, after that who? Then the Prophet said, your father. In short, 75%, 3/4 of the love and companionship goes to the mother, 25%, 1/4 goes to the father. In short, mother gets the gold medal, she gets the silver medal, as well as the bronze medal. The father has to be satisfied with the mere consolation prize. So Islam teaches that we have to love our parents, and especially as far as companionship is concerned, the mother gets 3 times more. So in Islam, there is no place for old age homes. So whatever manners and etiquettes that we teach our children, it should be in line with what our Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And we find today that Muslims are in the firing line. We find that Muslims have become backward as far as science technology is concerned, as far as education is concerned. And the main reason is Because we have gone away from the Qur'an and Sunnah. Previously, from the 8th to the 12th century, it was called as the Dark Ages. Dark for whom? Dark for the Europeans. The amount of advances the Muslim Arabs made, it is phenomenal. And if we read history, what we read in school, I myself have passed from a convent school, a Christian missionary school. I've got my education from there. It's later on, afterwards, I realized that what I read in school and in my medical college, I being a medical doctor, many things is something different. We are taught in school that the blood circulation was first discovered by William Harvey. In fact, if you read the Qur'an, Qur'an speaks about the blood circulation. In Surah Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 66, how does the food enter into the stomach? Then from there, it goes via the bloodstream. It goes in the intestine. From the intestine, via the bloodstream to various organs of the body, including the mammary glands, which is responsible for the production of milk. It speaks about the production of milk and about the blood circulation in a nutshell in Surah Nahl, chapter 16, verse 66. After I did research, I came to know that the first human being who first described the blood circulation was Ibn Nafis. 600 years after the Quran was revealed and 400 years before William Harvey. But when we read in our textbook, we are told about William Harvey. How many of us know about Ibn Nafis? How many of us? Hardly anyone knows that Ibn Nafis was the first person who described the blood circulation. We learn about geography, but the person who drew the first world map of geography was Al-Idrusi in 1154. What we study, the digits in school, you know what it's called? It is called as Arabic numerals. The 1, 2, 3, 4 that we use for writing, 1, 2, 3, 4, it is called as Arabic numerals. The other is the Roman numeral. The Indians were the people who first discovered about the zero, and the Arabs took it from there and made it famous to the world by adding a decimal. That's how we have the system today. We learn in mathematics about the Pythagoras theorem that the square of the hypotenuse in a triangle is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. The Pythagoras theorem that we learn in school, it was first discovered by Al-Ubtusi. So we know that Muslims, few centuries back, they were advanced in science and technology. But when we read in our textbook today, they are hardly mentioned. Who is the father of trigonometry? It is Al-Biruni. Have you heard of Al-Kindi? Al-Kindi wrote 200 works in mathematics, in geometry, in logic. And at a time when Galileo, Descartes, and Newton, when they said that all physical laws are absolute, he said that it was relative. Later on, Albert Einstein did more research, and he propounded the theory of relativity. When we read history, we come to know that Muhammad Ahmad and Hassan Shakir, these brothers, they measured the surface area of the earth by measuring an angle at the Red Sea at a time when people thought the world was flat. We learn chemistry, and we are told that Geber is the person who discovered alcohol. It is Jabir ibn Hayyan, Jabir. When they write in our textbook, it is Geber, Geber, sounds like a Westerner, Geber. It is Jabir ibn Hayyan. So when we read, we think, oh, it's a Westerner, Geber, Geber. And Jabir ibn Hayyan, he discovered alcohol, and the word alcohol comes from the Arabic word al-gul, meaning evil spirit. When we read history, we come to know about Muhammad Zakaria al-Razi.